Broadcasting live from Xander's Lounge on the plain of New Capenna, this is TapTapConcede. Welcome, everybody, to TapTapConcede. My name is Graham. Joining me is Cameron and Nelson.
Also here.
And today, on the show, we're going to be doing a little bit of a response to some of your comments to last week's episode. We're going to talk about the return of Premier Play, which Wizards announced, thankfully, before April 1st. And then we're going to talk a little bit about their April 1st joke, because weirdly, for when we normally talk about Secret Lairs, at time of this episode airing, you will still not yet be able to buy it, so we're actually helpful for once in our miserable lives.
Hey.
Huzzah. Yeah.
I mean, that remains to be seen.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a chance we'll be helpful.
Yeah. Of course, before we get into all that, a reminder that the show is brought to you by Card Kingdom. Check out cardkingdom.com/LRR. The New Capenna pre-sale is live. Pre-order yourself some New Capenna. What we've seen of the set so far looks very cool, and I can't wait to see more of it. Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and you can pre-order it now, and they'll send it out like the moment that they're allowed to, and it'll get to you very quickly after that. And as always, remember, you can tell them loading ready run sent me button please, and they'll give you a little 1-inch button. And I think we're still on math is for blockers, and that's a good one that people have been looking forward to getting again. And of course, this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun.
You did this.
Yeah. So last week we talked about the Wizards Arena economy stream, and some of you, not everybody, some of you had some choice words in our YouTube comments, and I feel like I want to, well, we've said, we haven't actually talked about specifics, but we feel that we wanted to address a couple things, because I don't... Do we not get critical enough? Do I not sound annoyed enough? Be careful what you wish for. Welcome to a new segment we're calling Graham Gets Annoyed, except now I'm annoyed with you and your bad faith readings of what we say on this show. I'm over it. To the very few people who were like, well, I get that you want to maintain a good relationship with Wizards of the Coast. No, they don't control what we say on this show. I think the price of the wildcard bundle is bad, and I said as much. I think other stuff they said is bad. Did I say that the stream was a letdown? No, because the stream is exactly what we predicted, which was pretty neutral, right? I don't think anything that they said on the stream was amazing, and I don't think anything that they said on the stream was dire. It was exactly as we predicted, which was they didn't really say very much that moves the needle in either direction, I don't think. There were some comments that was sort of like, loading ready run, we only play limited and we don't play constructed. Also loading ready run, here's why I think this is fine for constructed. That is a bad faith misinterpretation of what we said. We said many times that we only play, the three of us at least, really only play limited on Arena, primarily. Nelson plays some standard, or some constructed. So it's like, so we don't necessarily have an opinion on this. Here's what Wizards said, factually. Here's what we think about that, and that's the end of it. That's not our opinion on it from a constructed perspective. That is for you to do. We were talking about what Wizards said, and if you are a constructed player, form your opinion based on what Wizards said. Someone was like, well, you should have got someone like Vince on the show to come and talk about it from a constructed player's perspective. This is Pleasant Kenobi. I like Vince. If you want to hear what Vince has to say, go watch Vince's videos. That's not a dig. Go watch him.
Yeah.
There's no reason for us to get him on here. We are a different medium. This is just a casual chat. What I wanted to do was talk about all the little minutia of the stream that the rabid Twitter discourse hadn't talked about. And people are upset. Some people are upset that I was not more upset, that we were not more upset, that they thought the whole stream was a thumb in the eye to everyone who plays Arena, and that we did not hold Wizards' feet to the fire enough on that. And I disagree.
I don't perform anger.
No.
I just don't.
We've talked about that before, too.
I grew up in a house where people did that to get their way, and I'm never going to do that
Yeah.
because there's still restaurants I can't go back to. Sorry, not sorry. I'm just like, I can't. The thing where people are like, you can care about more than one thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I kind of got.
I
I
didn't.
can't get angry about this. I just can't. It's not in. I don't have it in my emotional budget to get angry about the arena economy.
No. On the one hand, someone criticized. Sorry, preface that rather. Someone was critical of several people that we didn't get more upset about their comments on the idea of they don't like dusting because that is destructive rather than the fun of opening packs. They wanted to focus on things that were fun instead of things that were negative. On the one hand, I didn't say that was great. I said that was an interesting philosophical take. Because I think that is interesting to look at it from that perspective. I don't necessarily think that that's good. And I didn't say that I thought it was good. On the other hand, if you think that Wizards should ignore the way that mechanics they introduce into Arena will make a player feel, then I think you're missing something enormous. I will give I will cede quite a bit of ground that several people brought up that I agreed with what Chris Kiritz was saying about the feel bads of dusting, of sitting there with the analysis paralysis of not knowing what I want to not knowing what I would want to dust in exchange for wild cards or in exchange for new cards. And how I personally would not like that. And as I said several times on the last stream, I'm a limited player, so actually, it doesn't matter. That actually, you're right, doesn't affect me. And we also said several times, if they just add more stuff, adding that mythic pack, that's another option. So adding dusting, go for it.
Yeah.
Fine.
Right. Yeah, we also did commiserate. Like, we said, like, we don't know exactly what this feels like, but it seems shitty. Right? Like I talked about trying to build a deck without drafting, and that seemed awful. And like, but I did try to commiserate.
I don't know. I feel like people were, some, not all, were very keyed up and angry, and not unjustifiably in some instances, about Wizards' response, and took that out on us, I guess? I don't know. I felt that a lot of the criticisms that were directed at us were actually not things that we had said. So I think I'm done the Graham Gets Annoyed
All right,
segment.
we're done being annoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there something particular you wanted to talk about?
I wanted to take the opposite tack and say, like, not everybody seemed to be completely in bad faith, and that I don't mind in general if people have, like,
That's what I've been trying.
honest critique.
I've been trying to say every time.
Right.
Some people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So to those of you who were like, hey, you did this, and like you said, we're mostly limited players, but we're going to talk about this thing that infects constructed players, and I just wasn't really here for that. Maybe skip that episode. Or like people were asking for a guest, and it's like we can't necessarily get Vince, or we don't necessarily want to get Vince or anyone else that's like not readily available to us. And I think that's a fine critique. So, I want to say, like, if you have something that you honestly feel like we could be doing better, I don't mind reading those comments. Those of you who are just mad that the arena economy is so trash, I don't really want to read you taking it out on us either. Yeah. So there was a lot. Obviously, every comment section of any big YouTube page is going to have a range of stuff and plenty of filth. But those of you who are like trying and like doing your best to sympathize with where we're at, thank you. We see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, no, there was one more thing. I just remembered. Sorry.
Oh, yes.
I did want to address the thing that more than one person heard what Cameron said about the price of Arena versus the price of paper.
Yes, that was
and
it.
there was some missed context there that I think you and I totally understood when Cameron was talking, but wasn't actually said out loud like during that paragraph or whatever, which is that like, Wizards of the Coast doesn't talk about the secondary market, but they know it exists. And they're not going to talk about the price of getting into Standard through the secondary market or through the first market. Really, they don't really talk about the price of building the deck you want to play with the list of cards that you want to play when you start with no cards, right? Like if you were just to buy booster packs, it's astronomical. So people don't do that. They buy secondhand cards, but they're not allowed to talk about the secondary market for legal reasons. But we know that they acknowledge or they understand it, because otherwise the card list from, Modern Masters wouldn't look so similar to like what the cards cost after the reprint. Like when you put them together, you put like the list of cards and like the aftermarket prices, they always like, except for with some notable failures, they always kind of line up, right? Like Future Sight was way too good, and the second Theros set was way too bad. Things like that happen, but mostly it's like, yeah, if you pay $5 for a booster pack, 1,000 times, you end up with $5,000 worth of cards usually, even though one pack gets something or not. Anyways, what Cameron was saying is that, sorry.
No. Sorry. My watch got a notification, and I thought it was something time sensitively important, and it's not. I didn't mean to distract you. I'm sorry.
No worries. I'm wrapping up. What Cameron said was, WotC needs Arena to cost like not that much less than Paper Magic, because they have these conflicting goals where they want you to play Paper Magic. That's still their baby, right? And I think it seems like maybe capable of making them more money than Arena. It certainly like reaches different people, so they want it to live. And we're going to talk about OP in a bit. Like they are putting a lot of eggs still into the Paper Magic basket, and they want Paper Magic to work, and they want Paper Magic to be appealing. So for Paper Magic to be appealing, one of the pieces of the puzzle is, as a new player, you're like, oh, I could buy into this Standard deck on Arena, or I could buy into it on Paper, and they want them to not be that far apart in terms of like expected value.
Right.
And
Like,
I'm trying to just
like
paraphrase you from last week, right? Yeah.
it's not like Runeterra where they're like, unless I've missed something, Runeterra doesn't have a paper game.
Yeah, most of the other digital
Yeah.
CCGs don't have paper games. Yeah,
And what that means is that there's fewer dials to fidget with
yeah,
in the economy,
yeah.
unless you also fidget with dials that you don't have a lot of control over in paper economy.
Yeah.
Right?
And
Like,
this note, it's a pretty smart thought, because in Magic Online, there's like a physical like bond that keeps the two things together, where you can redeem cards on Magic Online, and Arena doesn't have that, so it could charge whatever it wants. It could be like free all the time or whatever. But Arena or WotC has this motivation,
Yeah.
to keep it still kind of close.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sweet. So I hope that clears some of that up. There were some of the comments were like asking this question more than once that seemed worth coming back to.
And finally, before we move on, the actual largest and most frequent piece of feedback we received on last episode was that Cam was real quiet, and we discovered that for whatever reason, and we don't know why, the gain on his channel specifically was much lower than mine and Nelson's.
Mischievous Beebles.
Yeah.
Was it after live?
Maybe.
Were you on Ben's Screamo mic or something?
No, I mean, possibly. I don't know what this channel gets used for when the studio's in other configurations.
I have no idea.
Me neither. I also have no idea what happens in this room when I'm not recording a podcast in it.
Oh, such tales these walls could tell.
Right? Would it be a fly on the wall of the moon base? Who knows?
Yeah. So
Wouldn't be the only one.
So thank you for that feedback. All right. Moving on to some good news. How long has it been since Wizards has made any announcement that has been so unanimously well received? Well, not to recent memory, that's for sure. But they did indeed announce yesterday the return of Premier Play. And people were they said on this day we are talking about the return of Premier Play. And there's gonna be an article in the morning, and then in the afternoon it's gonna be Blake talking with William Jensen, who's a I guess former now Magic Pro, Hall of Famer, and now is in charge of organized play at Wizards. And definitely when Jensen was hired, people were like, that could be very good, because this is someone who's done this before, like who's been in the player's seat before, but maybe it's too much to hope that we'll see sort of any kind of return to what the system used to look like. Turns out, to paraphrase Bernard Black, it's very closely modeled on the old system. Actually, I'd go further than that. I'd say it's exactly the same, which is great. So yeah, they've announced the return of the Pro Tour. Gone are Mythic Championships. Gone is the MPL. Gone is the different what are they called? The flights, the sparks. What were they called?
The little leagues or whatever.
Yeah, the little leagues. There's no rivals league. There's no challengers. There's none of that. The way it works, I'll show you. It's a pyramid. It's very easy to follow. It's it's a 4-stage pyramid. The bottom, regional championship qualifiers. Prove your skill at your local scene. Then regional championships. Qualify for the Pro Tour or the World Championship. Then the Pro Tour. Battle against the best from every region. And then the World Champs become the World Champion. It's so easy to follow.
Yeah.
Isn't this nice?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like they looked at any major sporting league.
Right.
And
Well, yeah. It's pretty similar to what we had in the last stages of the Pro Tour when it was the Pro Tour. Because there were PPTQs at your store level, and then there were RPTQs probably a town or two over.
As the PPTQ was
preliminary
Pro Tour qualifier.
Yeah, so those are now an RCQ, a regional championships qualifier, but I imagine they're going to look fundamentally the same. They're going to take place in the WPN premier stores, right? Like the best WPN stores with enough seats and good lighting, and hopefully these stores will hire a judge, although somewhere deep down in one of the articles, there's like a FAQ that's like, you don't have to hire a judge for these PPTQs or RCQs, whatever.
You should,
but
if
please,
you're listening.
But please do. Please tell your store owner that, like, you will, if you're going to play at their RCQ, you want there to be a judge of some kind, hopefully a certified one, maybe from Judge Academy, that's going to help run the event and knows the rules of Magic, and that's going to make you like their store more and want to buy more things from them, right? Anyways, so there's that, which is fundamentally the same, gets you an invite to the next level, which is the regional championship. So those used to be called RPTQs, or regional Pro Tour qualifiers. And it used to vary before too, how many invites those awarded. And I think it still does. It depends how many people show up to an RCQ, how many invites they get, because it's the different regions feed different numbers of players. And also Canada, US, and Japan, I think, or is it Canada, US, and Europe? So there's some different treatment. Like, I think we've got a little better here than any other country of our size, basically. And the U.S. probably has a little better. Magic is from the U.S. The U.S. often has a little better. But it also kind of has it worse in some ways. Like, American Nationals is like a mini Pro Tour from the back in the day. Like, just the competition, the level of competition in the U.S. is
the density of competition.
Very high. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, anyways, if you top 8 or top 4 or top 2 or win your regional championships, which used to be called an RPTQ, you will go to the Pro Tour. But I think also now they've got these leapfrog things. This is new. So I think if you maybe win the regional championship, you are also guaranteed a spot at Worlds, or if you like, there's a level where you get to get 2 invites.
You kind of get like an uplift.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you top place one of these championships, I think you're invited to the next Pro Tour and Worlds that year.
Yeah, and there's also ways to stay on the Pro Tour. Once you get to the Pro Tour, if you do well enough at a Pro Tour, you continue to stay at the Pro Tour. So if you make it through the regional qualifiers and then place high enough in the regional champs that you make it to a Pro Tour and you get a record of 10 wins or better, then you get invited back to the next Pro Tour.
That's a lot of wins.
For the first season, it's 9 wins to sort of seed the field, essentially. Also, you can qualify for the Pro Tour online. You can qualify from Magic the Gathering Arena or Magic the Gathering Online. And if you are at a, say you're a arena player, but you also do well in paper, and you go to one of these championships and you qualify for the Pro Tour, and then you also qualify on arena, then your invite from the championships passes down to the next player.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
So
Oh,
yeah,
so I like that a lot. I
Yeah.
didn't see that. Yeah, that's
yeah. So it's like there's a set, like once they decide however many people are going to get invited from a given championship, it's going to be that many people, even if people qualify in other ways, that's just sort of good. So yeah, the regional championship qualifiers. Here are the regions: USA, Canada, Europe, Middle East, and Africa, Australia, and New Zealand, China, Japan, and Korea, Southeast Asia, Chinese Taipei. They refer to it as Chinese Taipei in a very like Olympic way for some reason. I don't know exactly why.
To keep their relationship with China.
I know, but like
healthy.
anyway,
Right.
Brazil, Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean, and South America. So those are so there will be qualifiers at stores in those regions, and then each of those regions will have its championship, as I understand it.
Now, they haven't announced any like immediate like airfare prizes from the RCQ or anything like that, I don't think, right? There's just
No.
when you get to the Pro Tour, there's prizes, but probably still only for the top 32 or 64 players or whatever it is. Like the money from the Pro Tour probably doesn't go all the way down. I'm not sure if they announced that because the way prize money works in Magic, there's been sort of like, 2019 was this interesting year of smoke and mirrors where it's like they took the blue envelopes away, but as soon as you make it to the Pro Tour, they give it back. So then they could say they're giving away like $10 million or whatever, when the finances for the Pro Tour and the way it used to work, where if you won a PTQ, they would pay for your flight to get to the Pro Tour. So it's been a long time since we've had that, and we've just coming out of this. Well, I don't know if we're out of the pandemic yet, but like the Pro Tour is back or organized play is back since getting shut down at the beginning of the pandemic. So like they maybe don't have to mention that because any announcement was going to be met with a certain amount of appreciation and fanfare, right? Like, we're obviously happy to have an organized play program that's not nothing.
Yeah.
And the simplicity with this one is nice.
The regional championship details will differ by region. It says the number of invites to the Pro Tour. The number of invites to the Pro Tour, the prizes, and additional information will be communicated by each regional organizer. And those are all the regions I just listed. And it says there are, however, some invites to regional championships that are the same across regions. So those include store qualifying winners. So you can just play at your local store and qualify for your regional championships. Players qualified for the Pro Tour, which is fed by the corresponding regional championship. So you get invited to the regionals even if you've already qualified to the Pro Tour, which I guess is interesting. But again, if you're already qualified for the Pro Tour and you place high enough, then that invite knocks on.
Right. Maybe you're. Does it mean that you're invited for the next regional championship if you
Maybe
qualify for
that's
the last
maybe that's what that means. Yeah,
that might be nice.
Members of the Hall of Fame are invited to one regional championship and Pro Tour per season.
Oh my gosh, the Hall of Fame still has benefits.
Yeah, those events must be in the same round and cannot be in the same round in which they played in a qualifier.
Okay.
And then the Magic Online qualifiers and the Magic Arena qualifiers. The Magic Online qualifiers and the MTG Arena qualifiers. I forgot that they have to. That's how they have the branding. Anyway.
So there's nothing in here about Grand Prix or Magic Fests returning.
No, well, there's a small mention.
Oh, okay.
Which is, I'm trying to find it, but I recall from reading it yesterday, is that they said, essentially, we expect Magic Fests to return.
Right.
Right? Like, So, yes, currently no details, but they did say the word, and they did say that, like, that they hope, or they expect that will happen, but it's not really part of this. Like,
Yeah, this is a different thing.
yeah, Magic Fests are not going to feed into the Premier Play system. Although I guess you could have a qualifier at a Magic Fest. The same way a Grand Prix was.
For a while there, if you top 8'd or top 4'd a Grand Prix, or like it changed and depended on the size of the Grand Prix sometimes, I think, too. But there was a way to qualify for the Pro Tour from the Grand Prix. And also there was like pro points for the top finishes of the Grand Prix, I think. Back when there was a club, right?
Yeah, like a Grand Prix always felt like a much more friendly environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're
And a much
open
more social
tournaments.
one.
Right, yeah, for sure. No, we want to have those big gatherings for everybody, too. Like once it's kind of safe.
It sounds like the championships certainly will have that same kind of vibe. There will be like side events and things to do and see at the championship event that's not just the championship, but there's only one of those in each region for each season, I guess.
Right. So maybe
it's it's not as frequent as Magic Fests were.
But maybe plan on going to your area's regional championship, even if you're not qualified.
Yeah.
Because maybe there'll be like great side of it. I mean, try to find out first, obviously, once the announcement and everything.
So yeah,
but that might be the closest thing to a Grand Prix you get.
Here are the ways that you can qualify for a Pro Tour. Be one of the top finishers at the previous regional championship, with invites passing down as players earn multiple qualifications. Finish with 10 or more wins at the previous Pro Tour. Magic the Gathering Online Champions showcases. The Hall of Fame thing we already mentioned. Players who finish with 39 or more adjusted match points from the previous 3 Pro Tours rolling.
Okay.
So even if you have a Pro Tour where you don't get 10 wins, but you are at 3 of them, and you end up with 39 or greater adjusted match points between them, then you still stay on the Pro Tour. Each Pro Tour, by the way, says we'll invite approximately 300 players and we'll have a prize pool of $500,000. And then Worlds has a $1 million prize pool. And the last way to qualify is the top 4 finishers from Magic World Championship 2022 receive invites to all 3 Pro Tours in the 22-23 season.
Okay.
So the adjusted match points thing is adjusted match points are the number of match points earned in a Pro Tour after a player's first 9 match points. Additionally, players who make the top 8 get an additional 12 adjusted match points regardless of final standings. Example, a player who finishes 10 and 6 at a Pro Tour, thus qualifying for the next, would earn 21 adjusted match points. If they then finish 9-7 at the next Pro Tour, earning 18 adjusted match points, their 39 points would qualify them for the next 2 Pro Tour events. Even if they finish with 3 or fewer wins at their 3rd Pro Tour, they would still have 39 points over 3 Pro Tours. If they fail to earn at least 21 adjusted match points over those 2 Pro Tour events, they would not be invited to the 5th in a row.
Right. So there's a bit of stability.
Yeah, you can chain it if you are consistently putting up decent numbers in the setting of the most competitive Magic competition in the world.
I'm sure this information is super relevant to most of you watching and listening to it.
It's not relevant to me at all, but I think it's neat.
Yeah. No, it is neat. And it's nice to have a goal. I don't know. Competitive players love the Pro Tour, obviously.
Yeah. And then to seed this season only, the 32 players from the 2022 World Champs they all get to go to the first Pro Tour. And then players who finish 9-6 or better at the new Capenna Championship get to go to the first Pro Tour, and there'll be about 50% more bonus invites at each regional championship.
Right.
To start seeding the Pro Tour. And this sort of goes on, but we don't need to get quite so into the weeds.
I'm just curious, how do you get to Worlds? Is that one handy too, the invites for Worlds? Because I'm trying to remember if the regional qualifiers feed that or not.
So 2023, yes, will feature a larger field than in recent years with around 128 players. The World Championship will feature the following. The top 4 finishers from the 22 World Champs. Players who finish 12-4 or better, or finish in the top 8 at any of the season's 3 Pro Tours. So if you top 8 a Pro Tour or get 12-4,
right,
then you're going to Worlds. The top 2 from each of the 3 MTGO showcase events. Players to be determined from Magic Arena. The regional champions. The runner-up from regional championship events in United States, Europe, and Japan.
Okay.
And the top 32 ranked players that are not already invited to Worlds in the 22-23 Pro Tour 3 adjusted match point standings, and all players tied with 32nd place in that standing.
Okay.
Does that answer what... I forgot your question.
Yeah, there was a bit there about passing down from regional qualifiers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all cool and good. I'm curious too. I don't think it's in this article, but what the dates will be. I'm curious. I mean, we're all curious about the cities, but what the dates will be and how that will line up with the rollout of product and what formats. Because there's been various Pro Tours, throughout history where it was like, this is a super stale format, but sometimes somebody brings like some spicy new stuff, and then for a while there, in the kind of last days of the old Pro Tours, they were always putting them on like pretty close after release weekend. Yeah,
specifically like Theros was like mono blue devotion versus mono black devotion.
Right, and it was really early in the game, right?
Yeah,
like it was
it
like
was very
in
early
October
in that,
or something. Yeah, for sure. So those tend to get more views or whatever. Like people are more paying closer attention usually the closer it is to the release of the product before the players have maybe decided what they're going to spend their money on to build standard decks. Or
it was actually really interesting
is.
because you could also watch the Pro Tour and decide how you were going to play the next 3 months of standard.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm curious about that. If they're only having 3 instead of 4, they're going to want to space them out somewhat evenly, which makes it kind of impossible to line them up with the set releases the same way every time. But sometimes they make up for that by saying like, okay, the one after the first set release is going to be standard, but then the one that's in the middle of a set release, like that'll be modern. Or I think there's Pioneer coming up.
One of the first ones is Pioneer, which is exciting.
Yeah.
I have the details for the U.S. for the first U.S. regional championship.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Now you need to go to each of the individual organizers' websites and find out the greater information there. So if you go to DreamHack, who's organizing the U.S. cycle,
right?
They have the information for DreamHack Atlanta, Magic Showdown. So the regional champs is invitation only and awards $130,000 Pro Tour invites and World Championship invites in prizes, but they also have open events, they have casual events, they have Magic Showdown, they have a command zone area, they've got cosplay and art competitions. There's a whole other section for Commander. Like,
is it a full DreamHack too? Like DreamHack is like a major gaming convention. Like, is there probably like a League of Legends tournament happening at it, or StarCraft or something?
Doesn't say that. No,
okay.
They're going to have like an artist alley. There's going to be vendors. So like it's very much feeling like a big Magic Fest,
like a Grand Prix.
And they have the prize breakdown. So first and second is $30,000 and $15,000, and they both get invites to the Pro Tour and Worlds. And then as you move through the rest of the top 8, 3 to 4 is $7,500, 5 to 8 is $4,000, 9 through 16 is $2,500, 17 through 32nd is $1,500, and all of those get Pro Tour invites. And then 33 to 48 get $525, and this year only also a Pro Tour invite. And then paying out between 49 and 64th place, $100.
So pretty great tournament if you can get yourself qualified to hit up DreamHack Atlanta.
Yeah.
Because the same tournament's not going to give nearly as many invites next year.
So yeah, Friday. Let me know if this sounds familiar. Friday, last chance qualifiers.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Those are back.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Saturday, regional champs day 1, 9 rounds of Swiss. Sunday, regional champs day 2. You got to go at 6 and 3 or better. Rounds based on cut size following single elimination top 8. And the format for the DreamHack Atlanta Magic Regional Championship is Pioneer.
Cool.
That's a lot of Magic.
Yeah. No, can't wait. Oh, and they also, I thought about tweeting this out, but I didn't. Figured there'd be kind of a storm of people talking about this article. But there's going to be coverage for these Pro Tours.
Yes.
So
full coverage, which I'm very excited about.
That's very exciting. Like that was
to be clear, full coverage for the Pro Tours,
not the qualifiers.
Well,
the championships.
I mean, there could be coverage for the qualifiers.
I would
but
like
that's
there to
up
be.
to DreamHack or
for the championships.
For championships,
I would
yeah.
like there to be, and DreamHack especially has the capability to do it. Right? Like the esports is like kind of what DreamHack does. In Canada, it's being run by face-to-face games, and I don't think they have that kind of infrastructure.
I don't think they've ever done like coverage themselves.
Yeah.
But
reach out face-to-face. Reach out.
Yeah.
We are available for consulting or just doing it.
Okay.
So yeah, that's all really good news. I think especially following what was kind of a lackluster update on the arena economy, people had assumed that this would not be good. And it turns out this is what people were asking for. It's like
Honestly,
you
if you
had
keep
a system that worked.
Yeah. If you keep the bar low for all your announcements from Wizards, though, like that's good, just good for your mental health. And if me saying that doesn't come across as me slighting Wizards or like, giving them the back of my hand or anything like that, like listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a return to kind of normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
PPTQs, by the way, were great. Like I remember whining about them when they first came out because I had been running PTQs at Yellow Jacket. Like they had expanded the Pro Tour slots so that like more and more stores, more and more areas could do like one PTQ once a year or twice a year if it was attended enough or whatever. And I ran like 3 or 4 actual PTQs where we got to like send someone with a plane ticket to go to the Pro Tour that won the tournament like at Yellow Jacket, and that was super exciting. And then it turned to this thing where, okay, you just have to win this, and then that's your invite to the real PTQ that happens in Vancouver once a season. But honestly, those tournaments were great, and you could go to lots of them. Every store got to run one, and the level of the competition was nice. I don't know, it was like a little bit less tense, obviously, because you weren't vying for hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars in prizes. And I am looking forward to playing and running in these regional championship qualifiers.
I just know that the Canadian regional champs are going to be in Toronto.
Well, I think we're getting 2, aren't we?
Yeah.
Aren't we spoiled? That's one of the ways we're spoiled. I think we're getting 2. I think we're getting a West one. Like there might be one in
Really?
Vancouver.
Isn't there one in Calgary? This
Calgary.
year there's one
Maybe
in
it's Calgary,
Calgary
yeah.
and Toronto that
Yeah,
face-to-face are doing.
I don't know. Yeah, we bet Canadians show up to these, so we keep getting 2.
Yeah, I mean, like if I was face to face, I wouldn't want to have to haul the equipment.
Well, I
across
think
country, like-
there's November in Calgary.
Yeah.
There might be one before then in Toronto.
Calgary, yeah. Toronto tour weekend.
So tour weekends are their bigger 3-day events. Although I don't know if that's where the qualifiers are happening. I'm not entirely sure when so the DreamHack one is happening in November.
Oh,
so
look who's in the picture on Face to Face website.
Oh, I know that guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey,
It's our buddy.
John Jeffries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's Ben, isn't it?
Ben? Is
I think
that
it's Ben Jeffries.
Oh,
They look very
Sorry, Jeffries brothers. It's one of you.
because so
think
the
it's bad.
the DreamHack qualifier is in mid-November. So presumably, whatever event is happening in mid-November in Canada, which I believe is Calgary, would be when Canada has our first qualifier. So I guess we'll see. Because there's also face to face has tour weekends and then tour stops, and tour stops are their 1-day events. Tour weekends are their 3-day events. So I'm not sure where everything is hanging out.
This is
though.
even less relevant for most of our listeners because it's just about Canada.
Yeah.
All right.
But I'm having a lot of trouble deciphering Face to Face's website.
yeah. Like
If you're still listening and haven't already contacted us to help like stream your event, pretend I didn't say that.
yeah, no, I mean, this is very exciting because I harbor delusions that I'm good at things, but this is just, I mean, personally, this is too much magic for my like brain to handle.
Sure.
In one event, because like after 3 or 4 rounds of competitive play, I'm kind of just like a wet noodle.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's going through that though. Like the highest levels of competition, like they get tired and they have strategies where they have to like manage their blood sugar and stuff. Like,
Right,
yeah.
right.
So it's not just you.
The Face to
But yeah, I
Face.
totally get that.
So the
Like-
tour weekends do indeed have that is where the tour championships are. The payouts in Canada are a lot more flat.
Oh, really?
Okay.
First place, World Invite, Pro Tour Invite, $3,000. Second place, $2,000. 3 and 4th, $1,000. 5th to 8th, $750. Still pays out to 64. 33 to 64 got $150.
Cool.
Man.
Well, I mean, like, hey, I guess that's the difference between life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and peace, order, and good governance. Poggers.
Poggers. Magic players are motivated by invites though. Like that's the main thing is getting to play at the next big stage, right?
Oh, wait a minute. These prices are in U.S. Money.
Oh, wow.
Never mind.
Yeah.
So much cash.
$150 for placing 64th? Oh, man. Pay off my mortgage.
Yeah.
The exchange rate's not that bad, but it is supremely beneficial for loading ready run that mostly we get paid in U.S.
All right. Speaking of getting paid in U.S., you could pay in U.S. dollars for a Secret Lair product.
I was going to say, yeah.
Are
I
we-
thought you were going to transition to Card Kingdom, and I was like, I screwed
not
up
done.
because I gave you this perfect layup
Yeah.
to spike the Card Kingdom segue. But we do actually want to briefly talk about.
And just one second, because I did reach out on Twitter just to see what people thought and if they had any questions for us about the organized play announcement. And
Oh, yeah.
I think we've more or less covered basically everything that people have kind of asked about. One thing I am curious about, Michael Boyd asked, is there anything Magic Esports did well that you'd like to see brought over into the Paper Magic Pro scene and coverage? That
I
is
liked
gonna be
their
coming back?
staging. The old Pro Tour staging of like rolling out the stone pattern linoleum and putting a table in the middle of a ring of lights and just one like camera up in the gantries was like a little bland compared to the like black reflective desks and the robot lights and stuff. And I like a bit of theater.
Yeah, a little pageantry.
Yeah.
Not going to hurt anybody.
Yeah, so I'd like that. That was nice.
Hiring Manny DeVuti happened during the Magic Esports, era, and I hope he continues to be a commentator. Yep.
I mean, like honestly, I really like their coverage team that they've been using just for the championships. So I hope that continues. I don't know. I can't think of.
Yeah, I'm not sure entirely what was that much different about the two. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's fair. I got one other one, which is
Yeah.
I think actually pretty good considering the state of the format. Can an adult explain to me what Pioneer is and tell me why it's the focus of organized play?
It's like small modern.
Yeah, it's a non-rotating format that starts with Return to Ravnica and includes all of the standard release sets since then with a different band list. So you have like, there's been a bunch of these over the years, not that many, but there used to be Extended, and then Extended was done away with, and we got Modern. There are formats called Vintage and Legacy where you can play like almost literally all of the cards, and Pioneer is this sort of teenager format where it's like it's not just Standard, but it's not Modern. It doesn't go all the way back to 8th edition. It's new-ish cards. So what is that? Is it a decade? Is it like 14 years worth of cards? No.
God.
No, it's
Is
less
it?
than that. It might be a decade. It might be a decade
2011,
now. When
I
did?
think was Return to Ravnica.
Okay.
So yeah, a decade plus.
11 years
But
worth of cards.
It started off with a very like permissive ban list. I think the only cards that were banned right away were the fetch lands and Oko.
You're right. Yeah.
Right.
Probably.
I think Oko probably made it onto the list.
Yeah.
Like if not immediately, very early on. And it's kind of I honestly don't know what Pioneer looks like because it was a paper format that kind of emerged just a few months before.
Just before we all stopped playing paper.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a cool format though. Like there's no
Yeah.
fetch lands, but the mana is still pretty good, and the decks some of the decks look similar to other decks that you've seen in other Eternal formats or on Arena, and some of them look a lot different. The last time we had big organized play for it, like there was I want to say there was a Pro Tour in Japan or Australia.
Whoa.
Or maybe there's a Grand Prix in Australia and then a Pro Tour in Japan that was this format. But there was this deck that untapped your Lotus Field. Is that the card? The tap 3 mana?
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then it could play. It was after Theros Beyond Death, right? This was literally like just before the pandemic hit, right? Because Underworld Breach was in this deck. That was
Yes,
the hot new tech.
yeah.
Was Underworld Breach,
Right.
And then you made mana with like Twiddles that untap your tap for 3 mana land, right?
You're speaking my language.
Yeah, exactly. And then so you kind of storm off. I forget what they actually won with in Pioneer, but you get to cast a whole bunch of spells in the same turn.
Right.
And then
probably like the Dome or like
something.
yeah.
Yeah. They fireballed their opponent to win
Yeah, exactly.
somehow.
Yeah, you make a billion mana and then you just like
Yeah. It might have been Walking Ballista, something like that. So it could block with it too or something. I'm not sure. But then the other deck that was like fairly hot that I think got hit with the banhammer was Inverter of Truth with
yes.
Thassa's Oracle,
Yeah.
right? So both.
Right.
deck.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
yeah.
So that was a Pioneer deck. And right now, I know you can play Greasefang in Pioneer. You've got Parhelion 2
yeah.
and Greasefang, and you whatever discarded outlets are the best.
R.I.P. Parhelion 1.
yeah.
Yeah.
You were real.
Yeah. And so people are hitting each other with Parhelions in Pioneer. And there's always been like a semi-decent Green Devotion deck. And this is still a lot of cards. So you can brew. Like
Right,
you can have
yeah,
a pet
yeah.
deck in Pioneer that probably does okay.
I am led to believe that
boasts-
Pioneer is actually a very good format. It's just that people haven't really had a chance to play it.
No,
Yeah,
I
I
was
think-
running
yeah.
the tournaments at Yellow Jacket, and like we had a small following, but like nobody ever really complained about the games. Like I definitely was just happy to play more
Well,
Pioneer every week.
Got to get on it now.
Yeah.
Now it's the championship format. Ooh, fun times.
Yeah.
Briefly, so we're recording this episode on April Fool's Day. We have no jokes to give you, but that reminded me that Channel Fireball put up an article that was written by Luis Bot Vargas,
Nice.
which they claim is an AI bot, but I think might be primarily James Keating. I'm not entirely sure, but it's the line. My first article concerns the modern format, a popular format played by many Pioneer players. And in particular, Modern Bloodbraid Jund, also known as Boomer Jund, is a deck that plays 4 copies of Reed Duke and his wife Liliana of the Vale.
That's incredible.
So, yeah, we're having some fun on April Fool's Day. So is Wizards, by the way, because they announced a secret lair. It's left-handed secret lair.
Yes, finally.
So, if you're not watching, if you're watching, you'll see it in a moment. If you're not watching, basically what they've done is they've moved all the card elements from one side to another. So, let's take a look at Cisse, Weatherlight Captain. So the mana cost is in the top left, and the expansion symbol is on the left of the subtype bar, and the power and toughness is on the lower left. And it looks so odd.
But the cards
Yeah.
still read, the words still read left to right.
Yeah.
The text being left to right is
What
really throwing me.
What bugs me actually is that all the text in the rules box, IMO, should have been right justified to stick to the other side of the box. But anyway,
Right.
so it's 5 non-legendary creatures. It's 5 things. Cisse Weatherlight Captain, Empress Galena.
Hey, first
Which-
reprint.
Yeah, which
Excited.
Cam noticed first reprint since
Invasion.
Invasion. Yeah, she's a
She's a-
merfolk noble now.
Yeah. Weirdo EDH kind of like and she's on her way to steal your boyfriend.
Yeah, 3
Right,
blue
like-
blue for a 1/3 legendary merfolk noble. Blue and tap, gain control of target permanent. Legendary permanent.
Hey, you.
They kept her little seal pup,
Oh
Right.
yeah.
right? Because
Oh,
the
that's
original she was
great.
holding like this little dappled seal pup.
Maybe the seal pup is Empress Galena, and the
Can we
merfolk
see
is
the
just its caretaker.
printing from Invasion? Oh my goodness.
You know, it's a very kind of I don't know. Would this be it's European nobility holding some kind of small animal.
I just realized also the collector numbers start at 9999 and count down.
Yeah.
Geralf's
it.
Messenger.
That's a good gag.
Yeah. Geralf's Messenger, which looks very weird. This was from Innistrad, the original Innistrad block, I believe.
Good flavor text.
Yeah, I also just wish the text from the text box was right justified now too.
No, I like this because you look at it and it doesn't immediately tip off what is wrong,
Right.
right? Because you look at
Yeah.
these cards and you're like, all the information is there, and your brain is just like, we flip things around all the time.
Your brain is desperately trying to piece together what's going on here.
It's weird that this causes the cognitive dissonance to happen or whatever, makes you confused and uncomfortable and a little bit queasy. But just looking at our show is on Friday, Can You Come cards is not so bad. You're just like, well, this is just a big pile of pictures.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
colors and words everywhere.
But
you know?
if you threw one of these in front of me and the rules text read, if you can read this, please wake up. You have been in a coma for 3 years. We are trying various ways to reach you. Right?
Oh,
I'd be like,
yeah.
yeah, I get it.
Rograk, son of Roga, the 0 mana 0/1 Kobold Warrior with first strike, menace, trample, and partner.
Nice.
And Garruk, Caller of Beasts, with all the loyalty things on the right side.
Oh, it just looks right. Just looks right to me.
I hope this comes with a mirror image wolf token.
Ooh.
Oh, it doesn't even make wolf tokens. Oh, beast, a green creature. This isn't one of the ones that makes tokens. Well,
Having a hard time.
I look forward to seeing what that is. Anyway, so the April Fools, this story is made up, but these cards are real, and you can get your own. No, really. Take a left at the secret lair sign. You can't miss it. It's the one with our left-handed copyright Dinky Palm print on it between 9 a.m. Pacific, April 11th, and 9 a.m. May 9th. So there's a April super drop forthcoming, and this will be part of it. But this was their April Fool's goof. So, the article is that they were like, when Magic was originally created, the plan was to have two kinds of frames, one for righties and one for lefties, but we couldn't do it then. But now we're able to, which is obviously not true. But they that's the fun thing about Secret Lairs is that they can just be like, we're just going to do these 5 cards as a goof, and if you want them, you can get them, and if you don't, no worries. Some people in the subreddit were joking about Secret Lair Colossal Dreadmaw. And I want that to be real so bad. It's Colossal Dreadmaw. It's the same art, but it's in just a bunch of different border treatments.
Ooh,
it's like old border, old white border, future sight border, current frame, like with the black at the bottom, but white border, promo, and then full art.
Ooh.
Of course.
Yeah.
I want that to be real. But anyway, that I think is everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
If you want your cards to be real, head on over to cardkingdom.com/LRR.
Yeah.
And make yourself an order. They'll send you singles, including some cards from Secret Lairs if you want, because they've got some of those anywhere in the world, and sealed product that's outside of standard anywhere in the world, and anything that they sell, they'll sell to you in the US of A. And if you ask them for a button because we sent you, they'll send you a little 1-inch button that says math is for blockers, because sideboarding is the coward's choice.
I think we've done a button similar to that. Sideboarding is an admission of defeat.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your very kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. We really do appreciate all of you, whether you are able to directly support us or even if you're just here, no matter what comments you leave, we appreciate you listening. That is 100% the truth, and I hope you take that to heart. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Until next time, I have been Graham, joined by Cameron and Nelson.
Was also here.
James is running the board, and Heather gets these online. Thank you all so much for listening. We'll talk to you next time.